Hi everyone, welcome to another week in review. It is Saturday, I was about to say Friday. It's Saturday, November 4th, 2023, and it is almost towards the end of the year. We are officially in the middle of the autumn season and the season of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is about 3 weeks away, and yeah, so it's here, and next thing you know, it's Christmas. So coming to you with these COVID numbers. Not going to be long. If you missed this live, catch the replay, and it will be on my YouTube and some clips on TikTok and Twitter. So here it is. According to the World Health Organization, there were 4,161 new cases of COVID-19 within the last week, but overall there is 771,679,618 confirmed cumulative cases of COVID-19. And as for the fatalities, it's 6,977,023. We're almost at 7 million worldwide. That is nuts. Now, in terms of the U.S., we have not reported new cases, but in terms of the number of cases, there is 103,436,829 confirmed cases here of COVID in the United States of America. In terms of the fatalities, is 1.1, so exactly 1,138,309. You can catch all of this on covid19.who.int, and that's the World Health Organization. Now, in terms of vaccinations, according to the CDC, there are about, 70% fully vaccinated, over 80% that received the first dose. Now, in terms of hospitalizations, I never talked about the hospitalizations. There is still a lot hospitalized, so it's 452,832. And then the new number of death tolls, and this is according to the CDC. According to the CDC itself, it's 1,151,435. So therefore, COVID is still a thing. It has not gone away. It's still here, it's still with us, and it's still among us, and people need to take things very seriously because this virus is not leaving us no time soon. So people need to take this shit seriously. Now I want to turn to politics. So, of course, we're still in the primary season of 2024. Michael Richard Pence dropped out. Are we surprised, folks? No, his campaign was at 2%. I mean, where was it going? It wasn't going nowhere. His town halls, his campaign rally events, or his campaign traditional retail politics, it did not resonate. It didn't. Even though he has the evangelicals, but they're shifting, probably not towards Donald Trump, but they're definitely shifting to Nimrata or to Timothy. They're not coming to Michael. Michael's been canceled. Michael's been canceled. All because he did the bare minimum, well, the right thing, which is the bare minimum of his job, to certify an election. He did not have a backbone. He didn't. So, toodles, Michael. Saranara. Now, as of the House of Representatives, it's a whole clusterfuck. It's a whole ass mess. So there was an expulsion vote for George Santos. 31 Democrats. Thank God none from my state did not vote against his expulsion. But you had some prominent centrist and moderate Democrats voted against his expulsion. And then you had some people in the progressive wing voted against his expulsion. And I don't know what the legit reason behind their voting against George Santos' expulsion. I guess they expect the outcome in 2024. But I'm a need for people in my party to think wisely, because this country is still divided. This election is just going to be just as hard as the election 4 years ago, due to the fact that these culture wars, these indoctrinations of people not wanting to acknowledge there's racism in this country is at an all-time high. Democracy is literally hanging by a thread. We have one party who is willing to suppress the vote, have Project 2025 to make sure that people like me, that look like me, don't come out to vote, and that don't care of what's going on. Versus another party who's trying to protect my rights. Do I want their messaging to be tighter? Do I want them to be united on one accord? Absolutely. But I know that party is going to fight for me versus the other party that wants to take away my rights as a human being in this country. So, yeah. This whole voting against his expulsion, it shows that other congressional representatives can get away with that. And speaking of other congressional representatives, because I'm going to jump ahead, Dean Phillips is just showing who he is. He was probably hiding it the whole time, voting with the party, but he is showing day after day of who he is. He had a tweet basically criticizing Jim Clyburn's statement about him running, and that Jim Clyburn is going to support and vote for Joe Biden. And he said something which made absolutely no sense, and it describes the white moderate that Martin Luther King was talking about. So people like Bill Maher, who is supporting him because he's 54 years old. I mean, Dean Phillips, once again, had no political position before being elected to Congress. He is a 3-term congressional representative from from Minnesota. A 3-year congressional representative of Missouri. I keep saying Missouri. Dean Phillips is a 3-year congressional representative of Minnesota versus Joseph Robinette Biden's 51-year career in politics, and that includes the presidency. If you have to measure it and put it in a scale, I'm going to take the one with experience versus the one that served in Congress for only 3 terms so far. And most likely probably won't be reelected because he's being challenged by a black man who's actually supportive of the president's agenda. So Dean fucked himself up when he decided to challenge the leader of his party, who actually has a record of getting stuff done. Oh, his favorability ratings is going down, but the man is most likely presumed to get elected by my base, because he got a lot done with a divisive ass Congress. Unlike Dean, who probably can't even reach down the aisle. Does he even have a record of working with people in his party? So, to all the white men that is backing Dean, the notable ones, just remember you're not the base. Just remember who will be elected a nominee. And guess which state is first. And that's another thing. Dean Phillips criticized the fact that the Democratic Party put South Carolina first as the first primary state to vote versus New Hampshire. I'm sorry. I'm going to pick the state that has probably the most black people versus New Hampshire, which is predominantly white. Anything above Massachusetts is white as hell. I went to school in Massachusetts. I know. So Dean, and not just only Dean, Marianne Williamson are mad that New Hampshire is not first. Need to get a grip. Because who is the base of the party? Black people. Who is the primary base? Black women. And then it trickles down. And yes, there's more Hispanics in this country, but there's a fraction. Black people are the loyalist voters to the Democratic Party. So that's where Jamie Harrison shifted. Dean. So Dean, best of luck trying to get the black people, because you don't have us. And you never will. And especially with the stance you're taking, you're done. You lucky to even make it to a first primary. So, boom. Now I'm going to circle to another knucklehead in Congress. On the Republican side, the newly elected Speaker, James Michael Johnson, is facing his real test. The fact that you and some members of your party voted for a bill with, I believe, 26 Democrats to cut the aid of Ukraine, cut the funding of the IRS agency, but only have aid for Israel, proves right then and there that you don't need to be in the speakership. You have no business in the speakership. You can't even negotiate with people on the other side of the aisle. You can't. And you don't have the ability to. Like this whole bill that the Republicans came with, it don't really address anything but Israel, aid to Israel. So you don't want aid to Gaza? Seriously? Like, you're making people choose a side. See, I have a problem with the Republican Party. And here's my issue. And I have said this on my timeline. Post 1968, the Republican Party has morphed into something that is not inclusive. And what made it worse was Ronald Wilson Reagan. His policies hurt us domestically and even hurt us on the international front. The international front, he ruined the relations with some of our allies. And you was paying foreign adversaries, I believe it was people from Iran, giving them weapons of war. And that's why there's Iran-Contra that happened in 1987. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I got the dates right. And then here domestically, you have Reaganomics, which is trickle-down economics, which we're suffering from still now after 40-something years you've been elected. 42. 43. So, yeah. And your legacy makes us choose a side that we have to be on. We have to be either pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. Why we can't just be pro-both and just be against Netanyahu? Why can't we have that? I wonder why. And the Bushes were no better. And you know that bum was damn sure no better. We wouldn't even know what the F is going on. We would just been pro-Israel, and he was said a lot of disparaging things about the Arabic community and the Palestinians. So this brings me to the no voting crew. I said last week that you taking a stance and think you're making a statement on not voting for President Biden You're hurting yourselves and you're hurting the people within your community. Like, I need people to stop listening to these so-called TikTok influencers who have all these big accounts, don't know what the hell they talk about, and all of a sudden they're a foreign policy expert. They're an expert on anti-racism. Give me a goddamn break. They do not speak for me. They do not advocate for me. Because real allies to black people, to brown people in this country, will not sit out and vote. My ancestors, you know, from the 1800s, the 1900s, the 1960s, people on my maternal side of the family, because my mother is from the South, during the Jim Crow era, fought hard to get the rights for black and brown people to vote in this country. And I am dismayed. I am pissed off. I am agitated that people around my age and down are willing to sit their crusty, raggedy asses home because they're mad at a stance that the President of the United States took. The President of the United States is pro both Israel and Palestine. Like I said, if you just a one-issue voter on this or on your student loans, watch when you have that bum back in there, or a bum acolyte like a Nimrata, a Christopher, a Timothy, or Ronald up in there. You ain't getting not a lick, not even a lick of sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie or a slice of cheesecake. You ain't getting any of that. You're not getting shit with them in the office. You're not getting your student loans canceled. Your health care is going to be cut. You're not going to get your food stamps. You're not going to get a leg up in this country because they're going to remind you that you don't need the assistance. They're not going to help you. So I'm going to need for y'all to think clearly on your stance and on the bull crap that you're spewing, and stop listening to these TikTok influencers that don't have your best interest at heart, because they're just knuckleheads on the internet that is willing to take money from you. And that's all I'm saying. And if you think I'm a shill for the Democratic Party, because I've been called that many times, even those who are close to me, I guess I am that shill. I'm a free one. Because I'm going to vote to keep myself safe so I don't become a casualty. And that's all I'm saying. So, folks, stay blessed, stay black, have a good night. Peace.